right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Do I Do This Anyways? Today's topic of conversation, we're going to be making a quick box and whiskers chart inside of Google Sheets to represent a whole lot of data quickly. So we're doing this with the measurement intro activity that you did where you were measuring the lengths of different objects in inches and centimeters, and you were measuring appropriately with your right amount of error, and et cetera, et cetera. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and start just a new sheet. What you should do is start a sheet so that way you can have your data. Right click that sheet and rename it to be data. That's where we're going to dump your data that you're going to select, and you're going to put it from the master sheet that I'm going to publish from you. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click that one. When I'm going to copy and paste this data and show you how to mess with it. You should go ahead and copy and paste whichever the first piece of data you were assigned to do. I'm just going to right click it and say copy. And then I'm going to go back into my tab that has my, get out of my way. No, seriously, get out of my way. That's my tab for my spreadsheet. Cool. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put that in here. Control V. Well, I'm not going to. Control V. I'm going to click paste special, and I only want values. Okay. Now, one of the things that we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to manipulate this easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manipulate this here. You should copy all of your raw data here and then copy it to other spreadsheets. But this is how you manipulate it. First off, I'm going to go ahead and right click here on next to the 1 and say view more row. And I'm going to freeze row 1. What that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to be able to scroll up and down and 1 doesn't disappear. Not only that, but I'm going to be able to click on row A, right click on it, and say sort sheet from A to Z. It's going to put them in numeric order. Okay. Now, we've also got this interesting thing where, 79 inches. Interesting. Where we've got this interesting thing where some people put quotations, some people put them in fractions like they weren't supposed to. We got to clean this data up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go here to format, and I'm going to click number, and I'm going to do custom number format. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in this 2 decimal point number right here, because you guys were supposed to round to 2 decimal points. Now that cleaned up some of it. So now I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to assume that they meant 30 inches. And then I got this one. Okay, well, this one's a little bit more complicated because it's 31 and an eighth. So I'm going to say 31, delete that. I'm going to hit a plus sign, open a parentheses, close a parentheses, go back to the beginning, and hit equals. And that turns that into an equation. Boom. Okay, so now I'm just going to do that for all of these ones where someone has mistakenly used fractions. So that way it will clean up our data. And I'm just going to delete the rest. You should clean your data. Now, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in data, because this is where I want some numbers to be placed across here. But here, I'm going to put the values that I actually want. So like when we're making our box and whiskers charts, we're focusing on the minimum, the quartile 1, median value, quartile 3, and then the maximum value. I also want to know, just for curiosity, the mode, the mean, the range, and the interquartile range, that IQR value. Okay? So, in order to find the minimum, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is hit the equal sign to tell cells that you want to put an equation in here, and then just start typing minimum. Okay. Now I realize that it's tempting to just say, hey, my minimum is 18.25. I'm going to type that in. Don't do that, because then you won't be able to replace all that data and it'll work correctly. Okay. So we're going to tell Excel to find that for us, or I'm sorry, Google Sheets. Q1, we're going to do the same thing. We want it to find the first quartile, so it's going to do that. So we're going to say equals, and we're going to start typing in quartile, and it pops up. Hey, quartile, look at that. Now, we want it to search column A. That's our data for the quartile. We're going to hit comma to say it's going to look in column A, and we're looking for the first quartile. Close your parentheses. 31 is apparently our first quartile. The median value, well, we're going to hit equals again and type in median. And the median of what? Median of column A, of course. There we go. Now quartile 3. We're going to hit equals again and start typing quartile. We want this data, comma, the third quartile, close your parentheses, and then your maximum value equals max. That. Close it. Do it. 79. Yep, looks about right. Now, let's go ahead. Let's sort these A to Z again. Actually, we don't even need to. So now what I want to do is I want to find my mode. So I'm going to type equals MODE, and I want it to be a multi-mode. Okay? And I want it to be a multi-mode of A. So if there's a multi-mode, if there's multiple numbers that are occurring the most, then it should pop up with those. Now I want the mean value. The mean is the same thing as the average. Here, it asks about averages. Google Sheets likes the term average, so it recognizes it. The range. The range is where you take the largest number minus the smallest number. So we need to write an equation that does that. Fortunately for us, we've already found the maximum value. We've already found the minimum value. Provided we don't do anything crazy, those cells are going to stay the same. And now IQR, interquartile range. So that's going to, again, be an equation that we're going to make, where we're going to take Q3 minus, I forgot my parentheses. Escape to get out of there. Delete it all. Equals, open a parentheses, Q3 minus Q1. Enter. All right, so that's my IQR value. So my range of my data is enormous, but my IQR is very small. That's a good sign. Highlight that. And now I'm going to come up here into Insert, and I want to insert a chart. Now, we don't want a bar chart. What we want is what's called a candle chart. Wow. Cool. So what this is telling me is that the data is skewed where there's a lot more data points below the mean value and the quartile one, and then there's very little above it. Okay, so that's what that's saying. You can customize it and play with the axes if you'd like. Come on, let me move you. That way we can see our other stuff. But that's it. You've got your 5-number summary. You've got a Box and Whiskers chart, sort of. Since all the data points are really, really close here, we don't have that large of a range. So that's how you do this. Now, the best part about this is that first column, if you replace that column with your data of the other things you're supposed to investigate, it should update this for you. Okay? If not, you'll have to go back through and do it again. Either way, what you should do, see this button? Duplicate. And so then we could say, like, rename it to height in CM. And then you can enter your data for that. So So hopefully this helped you out. And if you have any questions, let me know. Take care.